Hello guys, No here from TLS Clash, back with another episode of War Recap series, and in this episode we're gonna be taking a look at a war we had against Dark Lodge. Now one thing I have to say is this will be a two-part video. I will show the Town Hall 9 attacks in the first video and Town Hall 8 attacks in the next video, which should come out in 2 days I believe, or 1 day, we'll see, and yeah. So this war wasn't really challenging. They did use 3-star strategies and they failed at it because we did try hard against them. We did put good anti-3-star bases, and yeah, as you can see, this is their clan. And one thing I have to say is I have massive respect for anyone who's ready to use 3-star strategies or basically learn them, because it just shows how mature the war clan is. And yeah, I mean, you can go wipe all day, maybe 3-star if you're lucky, 2-star usually, but that's not the way to go. 3 stars win wars. So, unless you're Molt, of course, but I won't talk about that now. Also, they have a small YouTuber, Shane from Dark Lodge, so you should guys go check him out. He did a recap on this video, on this war as well. So as you can see, we did not manage to clean their top Town Hall 9, sadly. That is just because we did lack Town Hall 9 attacks at the end, and our top 2 Town Hall 9s did not attack, and yeah, it was pretty bad for us, but then again they did leave after. And now we're gonna watch Imponderable do a nice stone Goho on this base, and he deploys those golems nicely. They are tanking for those wizards that are creating the funnel, cleaning the trash buildings and making the funnel for the last golem he drops. And by the way, stone Goho means usage of 3 golems, for anyone wondering. And now he just slowly deploy his heroes, and enemy did have poor CC because they had low hit point CC troops like wizards and archers, and that honestly doesn't work after the poison update, so you guys should never use them in the CC unless you're like having 1 extra space and you can't put anything else. Then I'd still recommend putting a golem, a giant or a loom, I'm sorry. And now we're gonna watch Imponderable deploy his hogs nicely up north and right, and yeah, he just healing the hogs nicely, and this base had 4 giant bomb locations, and yeah, this base was pretty easy for him because Imponderable is a beast, and this base is a very badly designed Town Hall 9 base. And if you're gonna use a Town Hall 9 base, you might as well use a anti-3-star base, maybe anti-2-star, just in case you're, how do I say this, if you're really confident that the enemy clan is really bad and you guys will definitely win, you might as well put up anti-2-star bases, but I would never recommend it honestly, because you might run up to a clan that is really good and they could use that to their advantage, and so yeah, I'd still recommend using good anti-3-star bases. So the next stack is also done by Imponderable. As you can see, he did have a perfect war, and he is a pretty good Town Hall 9. He did another Goho attack, that's his specialty. And as you can see, this base is pretty bad because all the double giant bomb locations are obvious. And yeah, this base is just waiting for someone like Imponderable to come and use a shattered Goho on it and 3-star it easily. And as you can see, he does lure the enemy CC because it was easily lureable, and you guys should always do that because if you can, because most of the time you'll get a very messy raid in case you don't kill the enemy CC before you start your main attack, so you should always do that if it's easy and possible. And now he drops 2 witches to distract that enemy dragon while the queen is working on him slowly. And now he starts his golem deployment, dropping 2 wizards for each of those high hit point storages, making the funnel for his king. Now he just drops his jump spell nicely. Those golems are slowly making their way into their base, and as you can see, a nice staggered king. That king is basically untouched and he's in the middle of the base, which is always beautiful. And that one hog was supposed to defuse the top double giant bomb location, but sadly it didn't go there. It was released too early, and yeah, also those hogs down left were deployed too early, and he does lose a lot of them to double giant bombs, also to spring traps. And yeah, this is a very useful thing to know if you are starting the raid and you have a situation similar to imponderable. Only thing that you can save you right now is probably your hogs and good heal deployment, because if you drop your heals too late or too early, it could cost you the whole raid. And yeah, just another wasted attack. And yeah, as you can see, he does have enough hogs in the end to clean up this base and a lot of cleanup troops as well. And yeah, this is a very nice attack by Imponderable. Next attack was done on Shane, the leader of Dark Lodge, by Francisco, and he's also a very good Town Hall Knight. And if you did watch the previous War Recap episode, you'd know that Nova attacked this base with a cold-blooded Golalon attack. And this is just interesting to show because Francisco brings a Shattered Goho, and that just goes to show you that you can use you can 3-star a base on many different ways. If it's possible, of course, if the base is strictly anti-air or strictly anti-ground, you can maybe avoid it with one of the attacks. But if you can find a base that is universal, like this, for example, I mean, you might as well bring hogs or loons, it doesn't matter what works best with you. And as we can see, he does a nice 1-for-1 trade on that bottom cannon, and he does try to get a 1-for-1 trade on that top mortar, but sadly it doesn't work. And now, as you can see, he deploys the 2 golems, and one very nice thing is those golems are now rerouting. Actually, one of the golems is rerouting because he managed to open up that corner piece with 2 wall breakers, and that's always useful. Because if you can save a spell, that's a big thing, because spells are a very important thing, and if you can avoid using a jump, like Nova did make a mistake and use a jump in the first video, I mean, you might as well, because it will help you out a lot. And as you can see, the Rage is gonna help his kill squad and help those witches generate those skeletons and accelerate those golems through the south part of the base. And now he's just starting his hog deployment, dropping nice heals, and a couple of hogs do get out of the pack and go north, and that was actually a good thing because they defuse double giant bomb set that he previously tried to destroy with Loon, but sadly it didn't work. But now he does avoid it nicely, and as we can see, he still has a lot of hogs left, 1 heal, and yeah, even though those skeletons are attacking his hogs, he does manage to go through this base, and he still has a lot of cleanup troops, both heroes, even the queen ability, and that was a very nice raid. I mean, it's always nice to see queen ability or king ability lasting through the whole raid. That means the raid was done, I don't know, perfectly, very well executed. So the next attack is also done by Francisco. As we can see, Imponderable and Francisco did have a 6-star war, which is great. And Francisco is also a Goku specialist. And yeah, his second attack was done on this base, number 5, and it was a pretty spread out bad Town Hall 9 base, anti 2-star design. And he starts his raid off by luring the enemy CC with a giant. Now slowly deploys his witches and his queen to take care of the enemy dragon. Drops a nice rage to accelerate those golems into those defenses to get the queen's attention, and a nice staggered king. King goes in, kill squad is uh, doing very well so far, and yeah, he starts off his hog deployment from the top left side, and this was a first attack, so he did have to plan his heals nicely, and he does use them nicely. So he still has his queen alive, she's cleaning up the bottom part of this base, and these hogs are just running through this base and standing in heals and just taking care of the defenses. And as you can see, he still has a lot of troops left, a hero, a lot of witches and wizards, and sadly loses them to a giant bomb, but he still has a lot of hogs and a lot of time, and he does get this 3-star, and that was another very nice raid by Francisco. Alright, for the next attack, we're gonna be taking a look at the attack done by Jam, and he is our very good Town Hall 9, and he starts this attack by luring the enemy CC, does a nice trade, 2-for-1 trade on that mortar. Now slowly deploys his archer for the anchor point, and it's always important to drop a troop like an archer or barbarian for the anchor point, because in case you don't know, I mean, if you don't drop the anchor point, the enemy CC will target the first troop you dropped, so if that was a witch, she'd be dead by now. And now he just deploys his golem nicely and with a couple of wall breakers, and as you can see, his those skeletons will defuse the double giant bomb set in this base, and the double giant bombs were very bad, and yeah, this base is very bad. But then again, we're gonna show how Jam avoids those. So as you can see, those 6 hogs were very nice because he manages to totally avoid the bottom double giant bombs, I mean the left double giant bomb set, and totally ignores it. It doesn't even get triggered throughout this raid, and with a nice surgical attack, this base is going down for 3 stars. Enemy did have quad Teslas in core, and he knows he needs to drop that heal to keep those hogs alive, because quad Teslas are very dangerous for the hogs. If one hog gets targeted by a quad, I mean by the all 4 Teslas in the core, probably level 6, maybe level 7, not sure, and if the hogs are in heal and the Teslas are all targeting one hog, the hog will go down no matter what, because it's too much damage per second and they can't handle it. And this was a very nice attack by Jam. And now the next attack was done by our leader Dave, the Fat Finger God, and we'll see why he's a Fat Finger God. So as you can see, this is the first I'd say anti-3-star design we've seen so far, and it is a very bad anti-3-star design, because you have your queen in the middle of the base, and that's never a good idea, because you're giving the enemy an option to come in on this base from any angle. So you let the enemy choose from which side he's gonna go for your queen. And as we can see, I mean, as we will see, Dave does use the top right side because it was a lot more compact, and it was the side from which the CC is easy to kill from. And yeah, he does bring a nice shattered Goho, and yeah, he's just gonna show us how to 3-star this base. Also, one small thing, he didn't bring a jump spell, and we'll see why. So now he just starts his attack, deploys those golems to tank for the wizards in behind. They are cleaning up the trash buildings and destroying the defenses as well, creating a nice funnel, nice and wide funnel for his heroes. And now, as you can see, he deploys a couple of wall breakers, and that's really important that Dave is aware of this, because he knows that those wall breakers won't break into that central compartment wall unless he breaks those corner pieces first, and he does that nicely. He still has 2 wall breakers left, and as you can see, the golems are still both alive, tanking, and he drops a nice staggered king. And one small thing, people might say this rage was offset because it should have been placed a lot deeper, but this rage was not meant mainly for his queen and king and kill squad. This rage was meant for the 2 wall breakers he has left. Now watch how nicely Dave does this. He's gonna drop the last 2 wall breakers, and they're gonna get accelerated by this raid spell, and they totally avoid all the things that are happening in this base, and they manage to destroy this last wall, and they break into the queen and that double gen bomb set that's next to that right air defense. And yeah, this base is pretty much done. He just needs to do a nice surgical attack on it and be patient with his heals. And yeah, the enemy queen goes down, the enemy dragon goes down. He defuses the last double gen, he defuses the first, double gen bomb set, and now he's just doing a nice surgical attack, going around this base, dropping a couple of hogs for each defense, dropping heal where needed. As you can see, that heal is the reason why Dave is our Fat Finger God. That heal was a misclick. And that heal on the queen should have been dropped in the last compartment where the hogs are about to end up. As you can see, this one here. And he did misclick and keep his heal on the queen and the golem, which was unnecessary, and he did say it was a mistake, but that's the reason why we call Dave the Fat Finger God. And now he still has a lot of hogs, a lot of wizards for cleanup, and he's gonna get this 3-star nicely. And that was probably the best attack of this war. So that was a very nice raid by Dave, the Fat Finger God. So the next attack is gonna be done by Agility, and yeah, that's the last Town Hall 9 attack we have. All of the other attacks are Town Hall 8 attacks, and they will be covered in the next episode. So, the attack by Agility. He's gonna be taking on this Town Hall 9 version of the Chief Pet trophy pushing base, and guys, it's just a very bad war base. I mean, no one should use it, because honestly it's just mostly an anti 2-star base to defend against Go Wipe or Go Wee Wee, and yeah, it's just something you should never use in war, because it's pretty simple to 3-star with hogs. And as we can see, that off-centered clan castle will easily help him. He deployed only 2 hogs to lure the enemy CC, and he killed it nicely. And now the queen jumped the wall, he's gonna drop his king, and the king is gonna serve his only purpose in this war, and that's to kill the enemy queen. And when that is done, it's usually called a king swap or queen swap, or just a suicide king. That's how I call it. And now this is just basically over, because he still has 4 heals, and these hogs are going through this base, cleaning those defenses up nicely. A few of them split, but he still has his main pack and the heal. And yeah, this base is pretty simple to 3-star, and as you can see, Agility just shows us how simple it really is. And yeah, still has pretty much, like, what is that, 4 or 5 wizards for cleanup, and about 15 hogs. And his queen was just deployed, and she still has her ability left. And guys, if you're gonna use your heroes as cleanup troops, and if you don't have anything else to encounter in the base, like for example an enemy hero or something else, You should always use your ability straight away because you don't want to waste any time. You need the extra archers or barbarians and extra damage so you can clean up the base faster. And that was a nice tag by Agility. And that's gonna be it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And in the next episode, we're gonna be taking a look at Town Hall 8 attacks this war. And that's it. See you in the next one.